In the heart of Asia, a quiet storm is brewing. Vast waters stretch across the region, hiding disputed islands and rising tensions. At the center of it all are two major flashpoints, the South China Sea and the growing standoff between China and Taiwan. These aren't just political disagreements, they're layered with history, national pride, and high-stakes strategy. And right in the middle of it all sits the Philippines. The South China Sea isn't just water, it's one of the busiest trade routes on Earth, packed with shipping lanes, rich fishing grounds, and valuable oil and gas reserves. But it's also one of the most contested places in the world. Multiple countries, including the Philippines, claim parts of it. The Spratly Islands alone are claimed by China, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, Taiwan, and the Philippines. So, what's driving all this tension? At the center is China's sweeping claim known as the 9-dash line, an invisible boundary that stretches across nearly 90% of the sea. The problem? That claim overlaps with areas other countries consider their own. For the Philippines, things reached a boiling point during the Scarborough Shoal standoff in 2012, a tense face-off that pushed the country to take the fight to international court. But that's only half the story. Just north of the Philippines lies another pressure point, the Taiwan Strait. Taiwan operates as its own government with a strong democratic system, but China sees it as a breakaway province that must eventually be reunited. That disagreement has kept the region on edge for decades. Military drills, political statements, and rising nationalism continue to keep tensions high, with global powers like the United States closely watching from the sidelines. And here's where things get critical. The Philippines sits in a highly sensitive position, bordering the South China Sea to the west and just about 1,200 kilometers from Taiwan to the north. That means, if conflict breaks out in either area, the Philippines could feel the impact almost instantly, economically, politically, and even militarily. To understand today's tensions, you have to look back. For decades, countries have built their claims using old maps, historical records, and long-standing traditions. Filipino fishermen, for example, have worked the waters around the Spratly Islands for generations, reinforcing the country's connection to the area. But with so many overlapping claims, the region has become a complex puzzle of competing interests. Then came a major turning point. In 2016, an international court ruled in favor of the Philippines, rejecting China's broad claims in the South China Sea. It was a huge legal victory, but the story didn't end there. China refused to accept the ruling, showing that in global politics, power doesn't always follow the rules. Leadership has also shaped how the Philippines handles these challenges. Under Rodrigo Duterte, the country took a mixed approach, seeking closer economic ties with China while still pushing back on territorial issues. Now, with Ferdinand Marcos Jr. in power, the direction of that strategy continues to evolve. But beyond politics, the stakes are real and immediate. The South China Sea is a lifeline for the Philippines. It supports trade, feeds millions through fishing, and holds untapped energy resources beneath its surface. Any disruption here could ripple across the entire economy. At the same time, the Philippines walks a delicate line with Taiwan. While it follows the One China policy, recognizing Beijing's position, it still maintains strong economic and cultural ties with Taiwan. Trade is booming, and over 150,000 Filipinos live and work there. It's a relationship built on reality, not just diplomacy. But if conflict erupts in the Taiwan Strait, the consequences could be massive. Trade routes could be disrupted, security risks could rise. And with its alliance with the United States, the Philippines could be pulled into difficult decisions that test its priorities and partnerships. In the end, this isn't just about territory. It's about balance, power, survival. The Philippines now stands at a crossroads, caught between major global forces, historic claims, and its own national interests. Every move it makes will not only shape its future, but also influence the stability of the entire Asia-Pacific region. And as tensions continue to rise, one thing is clear. The next chapter hasn't been written yet. There's a growing tension in the world today, one that echoes an ancient idea. When a rising power challenges an established one, conflict becomes almost unavoidable. This so-called trap between the United States and China is no longer just theoretical, it's real, and its shadow stretches directly over the Philippines. The Philippines has deep, long-standing ties with the United States. Shared history, decades of close cooperation, and strong cultural connections have built a relationship that goes far beyond politics. Even after major U.S. bases like Clark and Subic Bay closed in the early 1990s, the alliance didn't disappear. It lives on through the Mutual Defense Treaty. While the treaty doesn't promise automatic military action in every situation, it does send a clear message. The U.S. stands behind the Philippines if external threats arise. In a region as tense as the South China Sea and near the volatile Taiwan Strait, that kind of backing matters. But here's where things get complicated. China isn't just a rival power, it's also one of the Philippines' biggest economic partners. Trade, infrastructure deals, and investments, especially under China's Belt and Road Initiative, have made Beijing an attractive partner. This creates a tough balancing act. How do you protect your territory while staying economically connected? That's the challenge the Philippines faces every day. Instead of choosing sides outright, the country has leaned into a strategy of balance, working with both China and the U.S. without fully aligning with either. This doesn't mean staying neutral. It means staying flexible, protecting national interests while navigating between two global giants. And it shows. On one hand, the Philippines continues to strengthen economic ties with China. On the other, it regularly holds joint military exercises with the United States. It's a careful, calculated approach, one that aims to benefit from both relationships without getting caught in their rivalry. Beyond that, the Philippines plays a key role in the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, better known as ASEAN. Since its founding in 1967, ASEAN has aimed to promote peace, cooperation, and stability across the region, and the Philippines has been one of its most active voices. In times of rising tension, especially in the South China Sea, this role becomes even more important. The Philippines pushes for dialogue, respect for international law, and peaceful solutions, often aligning with global calls for a rules-based order, even as regional disagreements grow sharper. At its core, the Philippines is trying to do something incredibly difficult. It's balancing security and economic growth. It's maintaining alliances while protecting independence. And it's standing firm on its sovereignty while avoiding escalation. This isn't just diplomacy, it's strategy at the highest level. As global power continues to shift, the Philippines finds itself in a critical position. Not just as a nation protecting its own interests, but as a key player helping shape stability in the entire Asia-Pacific region. Because in a world where superpowers compete, sometimes the most important role is played by those who stand in between and know how to navigate both sides. For the Philippines, the South China Sea is more than just a hot spot on the map. It's a part of its story, shaped by centuries of sea travel, trade, and life. But in recent decades, those once calm waters have turned into a tense battleground of overlapping claims and rising power struggles. Handling this situation hasn't been simple, especially within the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, where each country has its own interests at stake. Still, the Philippines has stayed consistent on one thing: disputes should be handled together, through rules, not force. That's why Manila continues to push for solutions through platforms like the ASEAN Regional Forum and the East Asia Summit, keeping international law at the center of the conversation. A major moment came in 2016 when the Permanent Court of Arbitration ruled in favor of the Philippines, rejecting China's sweeping claims. It was a powerful reminder that global rules matter, even if not everyone agrees to follow them. For the Philippines, it reinforced a clear belief: the ocean isn't owned by one nation, it belongs to all. And beyond the disputes, the Philippines has taken on a bigger role, acting as a bridge between nations, encouraging dialogue and easing tensions. Whether it's pushing for a long-awaited code of conduct in the South China Sea or leading conversations on climate, health, and human rights, the country is working to keep cooperation alive in a region full of pressure. But this isn't just about governments, it's personal. For Filipinos, these issues hit close to home. According to surveys, an overwhelming majority believe the country must protect its territorial rights. Experts often say these disputes aren't just about land or resources, they're about identity, pride, and sovereignty. The situation with Taiwan adds another layer. While it's not a territorial issue for the Philippines, it's deeply connected economically and socially. Thousands of Filipinos live and work in Taiwan, supporting families back home. So, when tensions rise there, it's not just political, it affects real lives. Public opinion, media coverage, and voices from leaders all shape how Filipinos see these challenges. It's a mix of history, current realities, and national pride, constantly evolving as events unfold. Looking ahead, the future is uncertain and full of possibilities. Tensions in the South China Sea could escalate further, especially as China continues to assert its claims. At the same time, any conflict in the Taiwan Strait could quickly pull the Philippines into a much bigger regional crisis. So, what can the Philippines do? One path is leadership, bringing countries together for dialogue instead of conflict. With its strong ties to both East and West and its role in ASEAN, the Philippines is in a unique position to act as a bridge. Another path is economic diplomacy, using trade and partnerships to strengthen relationships and reduce tensions. But none of this is easy. The Philippines is walking a tightrope, balancing its alliance with the United States and its economic ties with China, all while listening to its people and protecting its sovereignty. It's a delicate, high-stakes game that requires smart decisions and steady leadership. In the end, the Philippines isn't just watching history unfold, it's helping shape it. From its complex past to its strategic present, the country stands as a key player in Southeast Asia. Its voice, its choices, and its actions will play a major role in what comes next. Because in a region filled with uncertainty, one thing still matters most: the pursuit of peace, stability, and shared progress. And for the Philippines, that journey is far from over. If you found this breakdown insightful, stick around. There's a lot more to uncover.